This video has been highly requested. I've gotten so many questions from nurses on how to get into herbalism. My name is Stephanie Tanner. I'm a registered nurse, been a nurse for 5 years. I started as an herbalist, was into natural health, complementary and alternative medicine way before becoming a nurse. But I'm talking to a lot of people who are doing that in reverse, who get into the healthcare field because it's a noble profession and then realize that the system fails so many people and the majority of their patients are taking herbs and supplements that they don't know anything about. And they are the ones taking care of their families at home. And if you're a nurse watching this, you've probably had this happen where you're the last person to go into the doctor's office for your kids or yourself, and you want more tools to take care of yourself better at home. In this video, I'm going to help you figure out what some of your next steps might look like if you're interested in learning herbalism as a nurse. First things first, the very first thing you need to understand is that there's no formal governing body for herbalists in the United States. There are in some countries, especially in Europe, but in the United States, we don't recognize herbalism. It's sort of looked at by the FDA, but it's not something that we have a board for. There's no certification, there's no registry, nothing like that. So herbalism education can vary in quality and format. There are lots of benefits to this because herbalism is so traditional in a lot of ways. Like, it follows an oral tradition, it's passed down to generation and generation, but that's a whole nother conversation, like the pros and cons of standardizing any kind of herbal education. Way beyond the scope of this video. But the thing you have to understand as someone who is licensed and registered with a board of your profession is that herbalism is really however you want to approach it. That said, there are a few really good formal avenues for herbal education, especially if you have your bachelor's degree. So you can go on and get a master's in herbalism, in herbal arts, in integrative and complementary and alternative medicine from many institutions. If you're interested in becoming a doctor of naturopathy, all of those things integrate herbalism on some level. I'm not going to be recommending anything. These are just examples of institutions. Because I haven't personally been through their program, I'm not going to throw my endorsement out there officially. But I know that Bastyr University in Washington has an herbalism master's program. You can also find like post-bachelor's certificate programs available through certain universities. So those options are out there, and I'll make sure that they're linked below. Another institution that I have found that I've been really interested in is the American College of Healthcare Sciences. They have several different academic routes to take for complementary and alternative health, herbalism, herbal product development. There's all kinds of stuff out there. So you really just have to do your research. Now, that said, there is a huge variety of entry-level herbal programs out on the market, out in the community. They vary from high-intensity clinical programs where you're actually at the school taking courses in person. You have access to a lot of resources. To correspondence courses or online courses or introductories or master classes like the one I teach. A couple examples of clinical herbal schools are the Colorado School of Clinical Herbalism, which is a school that one of my dear friends went to. And then there's the North American Institute of Medical Herbalism. Both of those schools are led by very renowned herbalists in the herb world, in the community, worth checking out. Not everybody has the luxury to pick up their families or their lives and move to somewhere that has a clinical herbalism school. And so there are a lot of options of online courses. definitely varying in quality and content. You may or may not get CEUs or nursing credits for these courses. They may or may not have like a clinical approach. They may just be more geared towards the home herbalist and home study, which is totally fine. Like really, like herbalism is just people's medicine. And so I highly encourage, like the best way to learn is just to get out and like pick local weeds and figure out what the medicine is, or to find an herbalist in your community and talk to them. That's why like it's so worth it to me to just make this video, to be able to answer the question I get all the time from other nurses that says like, what schools do you recommend? Or I want to get into herbalism. Can you point me in the right direction? The best thing to do is really just to find a healer in your community and ask them how they learned and really just dive in. But we're nurses, we're used to having like a sheet of paper at the end, or like doing things didactically, which I totally can appreciate. So a couple of really good programs that I would encourage you to check out. Again, these are not official endorsements because I haven't been through the programs, but I follow their teachers and I love the work that they're doing in the world. One is the School of Evolutionary Herbalism. Definitely for those of you who want to get into more of the traditions and the mystical side of plant medicine, along with some of the more like really detailed nitty-gritty science and anatomy and like quantum physics of herbs. It's a great looking program. Herbal Academy is one that always pops up on my search results, and they look like they have just a gorgeous curriculum as well. And then the Chestnut School of Herbal Medicine, I've been following Asia Suler for years, and she's one of the teachers there, and they look like they have a really nice program too. Now, like I said, I have not taken any of these programs, so you're probably wondering what programs I have taken. And I started my herbal studies with Susan Weed. She is a teacher of the Wise Woman tradition and someone who's very, very like pro local weeds, pro dismantling, infrastructure, and making herbalism as accessible to people, to everybody as possible, and just making it super common sense. That was my first like foray as a teenager. Now, for a more formal curriculum and education, I've gone through Aviva Ram, who is, she's been an herbalist and a midwife for decades and is now a Yale-trained medical doctor, and teaches also a program in addition to the one I'm in, which will make me a certified women's herbal educator. She teaches an integrative medicine course for medical professionals, for healthcare professionals. And so her approach is very, very balanced as far as like the mind-body connection and the esoteric side versus the science and the research. All right, I hope that gives you some idea of kind of how this all breaks down. I know you're probably gonna have a lot more questions, which you can post in the comments below. I will say that one guide to point you in the right direction is to make sure that you access the American Herbalist Guild. They have a great resource and just a good explanation of sort of the indications to why we don't have like unilaterally monitored or standardized herbal education in this country. And then also just some things, some tips and tricks to look for. It's such a personal decision. So I hate to like make a blanket recommendation for anybody, because it really depends on the fabric of your life and the design and what you have open for herbs and really where that path takes you. And honestly, again, the best thing you can do is just get in your kitchen and play. If you are interested in just like breaking into it, I definitely teach a master class that will get you into your kitchen and playing with a little bit more confidence than you had before. Very designed with like with nurses who are new to this in mind. That is a botanical medicine master class, and I'll make sure to link that below too. This bird is opinionated. What kind of bird are you? My glasses on, but it's not a pretty sound. Sorry, bird. That's the spiel. Let me know what questions you have, and I'll see you in the next video.